have for leaders, these people I coach, because I got to coach them all the time. I try to help them get along. They've got to give talks all the time. Any suggestions for them?
Yeah. So the first thing. Oh, yeah, you go.
Oh, sorry. No. You want me to go?
Sure.
We can both go. We'll talk simultaneously and we'll see if we say the same thing.
Every other word.
Every other word. No, Jennifer, you go.
Okay. So the first thing we do when we talk to our leaders is speak simultaneously. After that, we sort of debunk some of the myths associated with humor. One, that it's the same thing as being funny. It is absolutely not. This is not about being funny. This is not about cracking jokes. It's simply about having a mindset of levity, having a sense of humor. And one of the best ways to start breaking that myth down is by helping them understand that everyone has humor styles. So even the most serious leaders, Marshall, that you work with, they have a humor style as well. Maybe not good fashionable style, but definitely a humor style. And so once they understand their own humor style and the humor style of the people on their teams, things start to really shift.
Amazing stuff. Well, coming up, when do you use humor and when should you completely steer away from using it? Now, I can tell you one thing. I am so curious to see what our two guests will answer to that question. I'm going to farm this over to you, Naomi. What is the answer to this?
When should you use humor and when not? So the tip that we give the executives we work with is don't ask yourself, will this make me sound funny? Instead, ask, how will this make other people feel? Humor is so context dependent, and often we have that answer. So unfortunately, it's not a simple, use it here, don't use it there. But if we're tapped into how is this going to make other people feel, then that's going to help us avoid some really serious pitfalls. So I'll give one example from a CEO that we work with. So this CEO is the head of a large media company, which he grew for many years. And his executive team had been around for most of the members of his executive team had been around for most of that journey. There was a point in the growth of the company where he had to let one of his senior execs go. And this was a consensus. This was sort of a known thing that had to happen. He had gotten feedback from many different members of the team. They had performance improvements conversations for over a year. But still, it was a hard decision to let this woman go. So he let her go. And in the next team meeting that she normally ran, he walked in and the whole team was around. And he said, take it away, Mary. Mary's the person who had just been fired. He said that the air completely left the room. And he realized, and by the way, someone said, Thomas, I don't think that was funny. And he agreed. He said, you're absolutely right. I am so sorry. I was feeling self-conscious. So that's a great moment where his instinct is to diffuse tension. He wants to name the elephant in the room, which is that Mary's not there. But he does it in a way that's going to be really uncomfortable for other people. So if he had paused and said, okay, am I doing this to be funny or to make myself feel better? Or am I doing this because it's going to improve how people in the room feel? It's what the room needs. Then that would have helped him avoid that. So to his credit, Thomas said, thank you so much for saying something. Can I start over? And one of his team members said, absolutely. So he walked out of the room completely. He walked back in the room and he said, hey, everyone, we have a lot to talk about today. But first, I want to open the floor to talking about Mary's departure. That was a really hard decision for me. I know that it was a difficult decision for the executive team. I want to give space for you to ask me any questions you have about it. And then he went from there. Right. So don't think about, will this make me sound funny? Think about how's it going to make the room feel?
One of my coaching clients was Mike Duke. Mike was the CEO of Walmart. So Mike, I do these programs in my house with retiring CEOs, which these things range all the way from tragic to hilarious to listen to these guys talk, because now they're thinking about what the hell am I going to do now, right? So Mike Duke said, I used to have this joke I told when I was a CEO of Walmart. It's a clean joke. It didn't offend anybody. Everybody's laughing. Ho, ho, ho. It was such a great joke. I always told this joke. Then he said I retired, and I told the joke to this group, and he said, no one laughed. And then he said, I thought they must be grumpy.
Yes.
I go to another group. I tell the joke again. No one laughed. He said, finally, my wife said, you idiot. Did you actually think that stupid joke was funny? When he was a CEO of Walmart, that damn joke was hilarious. Oh, but he's not the CEO anymore. So one advantage they have, right, is people laugh at their jokes anyway, even if they're not funny. I'm working now.
Advantage and disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm working with one of the top people in the Middle East, right? And he reports to the king. He made some joke on this Zoom call we were on. I thought the people were going to fall off on the floor. They were laughing so hard. So, you know, I might as well go for it. If you're the CEO, they're going to laugh anyway.
Yeah, amazing stuff. I love this.
So true.
Listen, we're going to.
Oh, I was
going
going
to do a little
go.
bit. Naomi, you first, please.
Oh, I was going to say, Marshall, you're absolutely right that we lose our calibration as leaders. So this is something that we actually, it's a real benefit, and also it's a risk, because as a leader, you're no longer getting feedback in the way that you were used to getting when you were more junior. So it also increases our risks of crossing the line if we don't have calibration. So we always tell our executives to have a set of trusted testers who are going to give you genuine feedback on whether that joke was funny because it's funny, or whether you can never tell that joke in a crowd where you're not the highest status person.